I'm so curious where you're listening from tonight. Before we get started, let me know in the comments. I always love reading where everyone is tucked away in the world as these stories drift through the night. Now, get comfortable. Perhaps you're wrapped beneath a blanket. Perhaps there's rain against your window. Perhaps the room is quiet except for the soft hum of a fan or the distant sounds of the sleeping world outside. Wherever you are, there is nothing you need to remember, no complicated story to follow, and nowhere you need to be. Tonight, we're simply going to spend a day in another life. A life lived more than 3,000 years ago. A life beside the Nile. A life surrounded by gold, incense, temples, and endless desert horizons. So close your eyes, take a slow breath, and imagine. You wake up as a queen in ancient Egypt. The first thing you notice is the warmth. Not the harsh heat of midday, but the gentle warmth of an Egyptian morning slowly creeping into your chambers. The air is scented faintly with blue lotus oil and sweet incense that burned through the night in a bronze vessel near your bed. You blink slowly. Above you stretches a canopy of fine linen suspended from carved wooden posts. The fabric moves ever so slightly in the breeze drifting through the open window screens. For a few quiet moments, you remain still. The world beyond your chamber is only beginning to wake. Somewhere outside, a dove coos softly. You hear the distant splash of water as servants begin their morning duties. Farther away still, beyond palace walls, beyond gardens and temples, beyond the bustling city, the Nile flows steadily through the landscape, just as it has for thousands of years. Its waters are the heartbeat of your kingdom. And today, just as every day, they carry life across Egypt. You slowly sit upright. The bed beneath you is surprisingly firm. Ancient Egyptian beds are raised from the floor on wooden frames, designed to allow cooler air to circulate beneath them during warm nights. Your mattress consists of woven fibers layered carefully for comfort. A small curved headrest made of polished wood supports your neck. It is very different from the pillows people use today, yet to you it feels perfectly familiar. A servant quietly enters the chamber. She lowers her head respectfully. She has likely been awake for hours already. The palace wakes long before its rulers do. Without speaking, she places a shallow basin nearby. The water glimmers in the morning light. You wash your hands and face. Cleanliness is deeply valued in Egyptian society. The cool water feels refreshing against your skin. Afterward, another attendant presents scented oils. You rub a small amount across your arms. The fragrance of myrrh and lotus blossoms follows your movements. Outside, the first rays of sunlight begin spilling across the palace gardens. The sky shifts from deep violet to soft gold. Soon, the entire world seems painted in warm amber light. You rise from your bed. Today, you are Queen Nefertari, beloved great royal wife of Pharaoh Ramesses II. You are approximately 30 years old, respected throughout Egypt, admired for your intelligence, diplomacy, and grace. Yet, despite your status, your mornings often begin much like anyone else's. You wake, you wash, you dress. You prepare yourself for the responsibilities waiting beyond your chamber. A group of attendants carefully help you into a gown of exceptionally fine linen. The fabric feels almost weightless. Egyptian linen is famous throughout the ancient world. Made from flax grown along fertile riverbanks, it is woven into garments so delicate they seem to glow when sunlight passes through them. Gold bracelets circle your wrists. A broad collar decorated with precious stones rests upon your shoulders. Lapis lazuli from distant lands, carnelian glowing like captured sunlight, turquoise the color of shallow river water. Every piece tells a story of trade routes stretching across deserts, seas, and kingdoms. Yet despite all this wealth, what you notice most is the cool morning breeze flowing through the palace. It carries the scent of date palms and damp earth. For a moment, you pause beside an open balcony. Below, gardeners are already tending flowers. Birds move through papyrus reeds. Palm trees sway gently. The Nile sparkles beyond the city like a ribbon of liquid silver. And as you stand there watching the dawn, it occurs to you that generations before you have watched this same sunrise. Kings, queens, farmers, merchants' children. The river remains unchanged. The sun rises exactly as it always has. There is something comforting about that, something timeless. Soon, breakfast awaits. You move through shaded corridors painted with vibrant scenes, blue waters, green reeds, golden gods, offerings and festivals. Every wall seems alive with color. Ancient Egyptian buildings were not pale stone as many imagine today. They were bright, vivid, filled with reds, blues, yellows, and greens. The palace feels less like a monument and more like a living work of art. Breakfast is served beneath a covered pavilion overlooking a garden pool. The meal is simple by royal standards. Fresh bread still warm from clay ovens, dates, figs, honey, soft cheese, pomegranates, and cool beer brewed from grain. Egyptian beer is not reserved for celebrations. It is consumed daily by people across every social class. You break apart a piece of bread and watch sunlight dance across the water. For a brief moment, there are no ceremonies, no political matters, no royal obligations, only breakfast, only birdsong, only the gentle beginning of another day beside the Nile. And in the quiet stillness of the morning, as the kingdom slowly awakens around you, it feels as though time itself has decided to slow down, just for a little while. The morning unfolds slowly. There is no rush. In ancient Egypt, the rhythm of the day follows the rhythm of the sun, and the sun is still climbing steadily into the brightening sky. After breakfast, attendants gather quietly nearby, waiting for your signal. As queen, much of your life is public, yet these small moments between responsibilities remain your own. You linger a little longer beneath the pavilion. Dragonflies skim across the surface of the garden pool. Lotus flowers open wider with every passing moment of sunlight. Their pale blue petals spread across the water like tiny stars drifting on a still sea. The lotus is everywhere in Egypt, painted on walls, carved into columns, woven into jewelry, offered in temples. To your people, it symbolizes rebirth, life, and the rising sun. Each morning, just as the lotus opens, Egypt awakens once more. Eventually, duty calls. You rise from your seat and begin walking through the palace grounds. The pathways wind through carefully maintained gardens. Date palms cast long shadows over smooth stone walkways. Pomegranate trees hang heavy with fruit. Small irrigation channels carry fresh water from the Nile to every corner of the grounds. A gardener pauses his work as you pass. He bows respectfully. You acknowledge him with a small nod. The gesture is simple, but meaningful. Life in Egypt depends on thousands of people like him. Farmers, craftsmen, builders, scribes, boatmen. Every grain of wheat harvested, every temple maintained, every stone transported contributes to the stability of the kingdom. A queen may wear gold and fine linen, civilization stands behind her. Soon, you reach a shaded courtyard where several scribes await. They sit cross-legged on woven mats with papyrus scrolls spread before them. Their reed pens rest beside small palettes filled with black and red ink. Scribes are among the most educated people in Egypt. Literacy is rare. Many citizens will never learn to read or write. But scribes spend years mastering thousands of symbols and complex records. Today, they bring reports from various regions along the Nile. You listen as they read. The annual flood has been favorable. Fields near Memphis show promising harvests. Construction continues on several temple projects. Trade ships have returned carrying cedar wood from distant lands. Each report represents countless lives unfolding far beyond the palace walls. As the scribes speak, your eyes drift toward the open courtyard. A warm breeze rustles nearby palm fronds. Somewhere beyond the walls, you hear children laughing. The sound makes you smile. Royal life can often feel separated from ordinary life, yet reminders of it are everywhere. For a moment, your thoughts drift toward your own children. Royal families in Egypt are large. Children fill palace halls with energy and noise. Some are studying under tutors. Others are learning religious traditions, diplomacy, languages, and statecraft. Their futures have already begun taking shape. You wonder what kind of adults they will become. What stories future generations might tell about them. Perhaps one day they too will stand beneath these same columns and watch the Nile shimmer beneath the sun. The meeting concludes. The scribes carefully roll their papyrus scrolls and depart. Next comes something far more sacred. A visit to the temple. You board a ceremonial litter carried by attendants through the city streets. As you travel, the world beyond the palace reveals itself. The city is alive now. Merchants arrange goods beneath woven awnings. Bakers tend clay ovens. Donkeys carry baskets filled with vegetables. Potters shake wet clay with practiced hands. Women gather water. Children weave through crowded streets. The scent of bread drifts through the air. So does the smell of river water, fresh reeds, and warm stone. People stop and bow as you pass, not merely because you are queen. To many Egyptians, royalty exists somewhere between human and divine. The king serves as a bridge between the gods and the people. The queen shares in that sacred responsibility. It is a role that brings privilege, but also enormous expectation. Eventually, the towering walls of the temple rise before you. Massive sandstone columns stretch toward the sky. Their capitals bloom like giant lotus flowers. Colorful reliefs cover nearly every surface. Scenes of gods, offerings, festivals, victories, stories carved into stone so they might survive for eternity. As you enter the cool interior, the temperature drops noticeably. The bright sunlight fades behind you. The scent of incense grows stronger. Priests move silently through dim corridors carrying offerings. The atmosphere feels peaceful, almost dreamlike. In the deepest chambers of the temple rests a sacred statue of the god. Few people ever see these inner sanctuaries, but today you participate in rituals honoring the divine forces believed to sustain Egypt itself. Offerings of bread, fruit, flowers, and incense are presented. Prayers are spoken softly. The ceremonies are not dramatic. They are careful, orderly, reverent. Ancient Egyptians believe maintaining harmony, what they call ma'at, is essential. Balance, truth, justice, cosmic order. Every ritual helps preserve that balance. every offering contributes to the stability of the world. Standing within the cool darkness of the temple, surrounded by flickering lamplight, you feel a sense of connection stretching far beyond your own lifetime. Your ancestors performed these same rituals, their ancestors before them, generations reaching backward into history like links in a golden chain. Outside, the Nile continues flowing. The sun continues moving across the sky. And here within these sacred walls, time itself feels almost suspended. When the ceremonies conclude, you step once more into the daylight. For a moment, the brightness is overwhelming. The sun now stands high above Egypt. Its warmth settles across your shoulders. The city hums with activity. Boats drift along the river. Markets bustle. Life continues in every direction. And as you begin the journey back toward the palace, you realize the day is still young. Ahead waits the midday meal, conversations with family, political discussions, quiet moments beneath shaded courtyards. And eventually, when evening arrives, the entire kingdom will glow beneath the golden light of sunset. But for now, the morning still lingers, and the Nile carries the kingdom gently forward beneath the watchful Egyptian sun. By the time you return to the palace, the sun hangs high above the Nile. The morning haze has long disappeared, replaced by the brilliant golden light that seems unique to Egypt. Every surface reflects it. The pale limestone walls shimmer. The river sparkles beyond the city. Even the leaves of the date palms seem edged with gold. The heat is stronger now. Not uncomfortable, but noticeable. Servants move through the palace, sprinkling cool water across stone floors and shaded courtyards. The moisture slowly evaporates, carrying away some of the midday warmth. As you step through the palace gates, a familiar feeling settles over you. Relief. Not because the temple visit was unpleasant, far from it, but there is a comfort in returning home. Even queens need places where they can simply exist for a little while without ceremony. The palace is already busy. Messengers move through hallways, carrying sealed documents. Attendants quietly complete their duties. Somewhere nearby, musicians practice soft melodies on harps. The notes drift through open windows and disappear into the warm air. You follow a shaded corridor lined with painted columns. Scenes of lotus flowers, papyrus reeds, and sacred birds cover the walls. The colors remain astonishingly vivid. Deep blues, rich reds, golden yellows. Artists have spent countless hours ensuring every detail is beautiful. To the Egyptians, beauty is not separate from daily life. Beauty itself is a form of order, a reflection of harmony, a reflection of ma'at. As you walk, two young children come running toward you. Their laughter echoes through the corridor. For a moment, protocol is forgotten. They are not thinking about titles. They are not thinking about dynasties or politics. They are simply happy to see you, your children. You kneel slightly as they reach you. One wraps small arms around your waist. The other excitedly begins telling a story about a lesson they had that morning. You smile. Many images of ancient rulers show them standing tall and distant, frozen forever in stone. But real life is different. Parents remain parents. Children remain children. Even inside royal palaces. You spend some time walking with them through the gardens. They point out birds nesting among the reeds. A gardener offers freshly picked figs. One of the children immediately reaches for the largest one. You laugh softly. Some things never change. Eventually, the children return to their tutors. Their education is extensive. Royal children learn reading and writing, religious traditions, court etiquette, languages, history, mathematics. They are being prepared for futures that may one day place the fate of Egypt upon their shoulders. Watching them leave, you feel a familiar mixture of pride and concern. You want them to be strong, wise, kind. The future always feels both exciting and uncertain, no matter what century someone lives in. Soon it is time for the midday meal. Unlike modern dinners, this is often one of the larger meals of the day. You dine beneath a shaded pavilion overlooking a reflecting pool. The water mirrors the bright sky above. Lotus flowers drift lazily across the surface. Servants bring platters of food, fresh bread, roasted duck, vegetables seasoned with herbs, dates, figs, pomegranates, honey, soft cheese. The scents are rich but comforting. Nothing feels rushed. Meals are social occasions, a chance for conversation, a chance to pause. Nearby, musicians play gentle melodies on harps and flutes. Their music drifts through the warm air like a breeze. As you eat, trusted advisors join you. The discussion gradually shifts toward matters of the kingdom. Trade routes, construction projects, temple restorations, relations with neighboring lands. The conversations are thoughtful rather than dramatic. Most days of ruling involve discussion, planning, and patience rather than excitement. Empires are maintained through countless ordinary decisions made day after day. As the meal continues, you listen carefully. A shipment of cedar wood has arrived from distant shores. Stone workers are making progress on a temple expansion. Farmers report healthy crops thanks to favorable flood conditions. The Nile remains generous this year. That alone eases many worries. Everything depends on the river, the grain harvest, the economy, the food supply, the well-being of millions. Throughout Egyptian history, the Nile has been both provider and protector. Its annual floods transform dry earth into fertile farmland. Without it, Egypt would simply be desert. After the meal concludes, the hottest hours of the afternoon begin. Much of the palace grows quieter. Many people retreat to shaded rooms. Activity slows. Even the birds seem less energetic beneath the blazing sun. You retire to a private chamber overlooking the gardens. A servant waves a large fan woven from palm leaves. The movement creates a steady breeze. Outside, sunlight dances across the water channels running through the palace grounds. For a while, there is nothing demanding your attention. No meetings, no ceremonies, no visitors, only stillness. You spend time reading from beautifully prepared papyrus scrolls, stories, religious texts, poetry. Egyptian literature often reflects on life, wisdom, and the passage of time. One passage catches your attention. It speaks of enjoying the present moment while remaining grateful to those who came before. The words feel strangely timeless. People thousands of years from now will likely wonder about their future just as you do. They will worry, hope, dream, love, and watch sunsets. Some human experiences never truly change. As afternoon slowly drifts onward, you move onto a shaded balcony. Below, palace life continues. Servants carry baskets of laundry drying in the sun. Gardeners trim flowering plants. A cat stretches lazily beside a warm stone wall. Cats are beloved throughout Egypt. They wander freely through homes and palaces alike. Many families consider them both companions and protectors. You watch one disappear beneath a cluster of papyrus plants. The sight makes you smile. The air feels heavy with warmth and the scent of flowers. For a few precious moments, there is absolutely nothing you need to do. Only observe, only breathe, only exist within this beautiful afternoon beside the Nile. The sun begins its gradual descent toward the western horizon. The harsh brightness softens. Long shadows stretch across courtyards. The golden hour approaches. Soon the palace will begin preparing for evening. Lanterns will be lit. Families will gather. The city will glow beneath the fading light. And another chapter of your day, as Queen Nefertari will quietly unfold beneath the ancient Egyptian sky. As the afternoon slowly fades, the entire world seems to soften. The fierce brightness of midday gives way to something gentler, warmer. The sunlight turns honey gold as it stretches across the palace gardens, bathing everything in a glow that feels almost magical. You remain on the balcony for a little while longer. Below, long shadows spill across stone pathways. The palms sway lazily in the evening breeze. The fountains continue their quiet trickling. For a few peaceful moments, the palace seems suspended between day and night. Ancient Egyptians treasure this time of day. Sunrise and sunset are more than simple parts of the daily cycle. They are sacred transitions. The sun god Ra is believed to journey across the sky during daylight, hours before beginning his voyage through the underworld each evening. Every sunset carries a quiet reminder that the world moves in cycles. Day follows night. Flood follows drought. Life follows death. And tomorrow, the sun will rise again. You leave the balcony and make your way through the palace. The air is noticeably cooler now. Open windows allow fresh breezes from the Nile to drift through the halls. Servants begin lighting oil lamps one by one. Tiny flames flicker to life. Golden light dances across painted walls. The palace gradually transforms. By daylight, it feels grand. By lamplight, it feels intimate, almost cozy. As you walk through the corridors, the scent of evening meals begins filling the air. Bread baking, herbs, roasted meats, sweet dates warming in honey. The smells drift from palace kitchens hidden deep within the complex. Hundreds of workers help maintain royal households. Bakers, brewers, cooks, gardeners, laundry workers, scribes, guards, artisans. Most people will never know their names, yet the palace depends upon them completely. You pause beside a window overlooking the city. The view stretches far beyond the palace walls. Mud brick homes cluster together along winding streets. Small cooking fires begin appearing across rooftops. Families gather for their evening meals. Children race through narrow alleys before being called home. Boats continue gliding across the Nile, their sails glowing orange beneath the setting sun. From this distance, the city feels peaceful. You wonder what conversations are happening tonight. Who is celebrating? Who is worried? Who is falling in love? Who is welcoming a child into the world? The kingdom is vast. Millions of lives unfolding simultaneously beneath the same sky. A gentle knock interrupts your thoughts. One of your attendants informs you that your family has gathered for the evening meal. You follow her toward a beautifully decorated dining courtyard. The setting sun paints everything in shades of gold and amber. Torches have been lit around the edges of the courtyard. Their flames dance softly in the growing darkness. Family members greet one another warmly. Children chatter excitedly. Laughter occasionally rises above the sound of music. For all the grandeur of royal life, evenings often feel surprisingly ordinary. People sharing stories, people discussing their day, people enjoying food together. Some things remain universal across thousands of years. Tonight's meal is abundant. Fresh bread, roasted goose, fish from the Nile, vegetables seasoned with coriander and herbs, dates, melons, figs, honey cakes prepared by palace bakers. Servants move quietly between guests, refilling cups and replacing dishes. Musicians sit nearby, playing harps and lutes. The melodies drift through the courtyard like a gentle breeze. Nothing is rushed. The atmosphere encourages conversation, storytelling, reflection. The stars are beginning to appear overhead by the time the meal concludes. One by one, they emerge from the deepening blue sky. Ancient Egyptians spend much time observing the heavens. The stars help guide travelers, mark seasons, and connect earthly life to the divine. Without electric lights, the night sky appears breathtakingly bright. The Milky Way stretches overhead like a river of silver dust. You often find yourself staring upward in quiet wonder. After dinner, some members of the royal household retire indoors. Others remain in the gardens. You choose to walk. The evening air feels wonderful after the heat of the day. A path lined with lotus ponds winds through the palace grounds. Moonlight reflects across the water. Tiny ripples shimmer like scattered jewels. Somewhere nearby, frogs croak softly among the reeds. Insects sing their endless nighttime songs. The sounds blend together into a gentle chorus. It is remarkably peaceful. You pass beneath towering date palms. Their leaves rustle softly overhead. The scent of jasmine drifts through the darkness. The gardens feel entirely different at night, more mysterious, more tranquil. As you walk, your thoughts begin to slow. The responsibilities of the day feel farther away now. The reports, the meetings, the ceremonies, all of them belong to daylight. Night invites something different. Reflection. You think about your family, your children, the future of Egypt. You think about the generations who came before you, kings and queens whose names are carved into stone, some remembered forever, others gradually fading into history. Perhaps they stood beneath these same stars. Perhaps they listened to the same frogs singing beside the river. Perhaps they too paused to wonder what the future would become. Eventually, your walk brings you toward a small shrine within the palace gardens. A single oil lamp burns nearby. Its flame flickers gently. You pause for a moment of quiet prayer, not because it is expected, because it feels comforting. The world seems enormous beneath the stars. The gods seem closer somehow at night. The simple act of standing still becomes its own form of peace. When you finally leave the shrine, the palace has grown quieter. Most of the household is preparing for sleep. The corridors glow softly with lamplight. Conversations have faded into murmurs. Even the musicians have stopped playing. The day is drawing to a close. Soon you will return to your chambers. Soon the palace will settle into silence. Soon all that remains will be moonlight, distant river sounds, and dreams. And as you slowly make your way back through the sleeping palace, you can feel the calmness of night settling gently over ancient Egypt. The palace is quiet now, not completely silent. A place this large is never truly silent. Somewhere in the distance, a guard's sandals scrape softly against stone. A lantern flickers within a corridor. The wind rustles through palm leaves beyond the walls. And far away, always present, the Nile continues its endless journey through the darkness. But compared to the bustle of the day, the palace feels almost asleep. You move slowly through the corridors. The oil lamps cast pools of warm golden light along the painted walls. Everything seems softer at night. The colors, the sounds, even your thoughts. The worries that felt important this morning now seem smaller somehow, more distant. The day's responsibilities have been completed. Tomorrow will bring its own duties, but tonight belongs to rest. As you approach your private chambers, attendants quietly prepare for the final routines of the evening. One carries a shallow bowl filled with cool water, scented with lotus petals. Another arranges fresh linen. A third extinguishes several lamps, leaving only a few glowing gently in the room. The atmosphere feels peaceful, comforting, safe. You step onto a small balcony overlooking the gardens. One last time before bed. The night air greets you immediately. Cooler now, refreshing after the warmth of the day. Above you stretches one of the most beautiful skies imaginable. Without city lights, the stars appear endless. Thousands upon thousands scattered across the heavens. Ancient Egyptians know these stars well. The night sky is not simply decoration. It is part of daily life, part of religion, part of navigation, part of understanding the universe itself. You look toward the brilliant star Sirius, known to the Egyptians as Sopdet. Its appearance each year helps signal the arrival of the Nile flood. For countless generations, people have watched for its return. Farmers, priests, merchants, children, queens, everyone beneath the same sky. The thought brings you comfort. No matter how powerful someone becomes, they still share the same stars as everyone else. The same sunrise, the same moonlight, the same hopes, the same fears. A gentle breeze stirs your linen gown. Somewhere below, a night bird calls. The sound echoes briefly across the gardens before disappearing into silence. You lean against the stone railing. The palace around you is magnificent. The wealth, the architecture, the jewelry, the temples, the monuments. Yet standing here beneath the stars, none of those things seem most important. What lingers in your mind are smaller moments. Your children laughing in the corridor, the scent of fresh bread at breakfast, lotus flowers opening beside the water, the music drifting through the courtyard during dinner, the feeling of sunlight on your face as you crossed the city this morning. Even queens remember ordinary moments, perhaps especially queens, because power can be overwhelming. But simple moments remind you that you are still human. Eventually you step back inside. The attendants help prepare you for sleep. Jewelry is carefully removed. Bracelets, necklaces, gold rings, one by one. Without them, you feel lighter somehow. Less like a symbol, more like yourself. Your linen garments are exchanged for simple sleeping clothes. The room smells faintly of cedar wood, lotus oil, and incense. A final lamp glows softly near the bed. Its flame dances gently against the walls. The shadows it creates seem almost alive. You sit quietly for a moment. There is no rush to lie down, no urgency, only stillness. Ancient Egyptians think often about eternity, about what comes after life, about the journey of the soul. Many people today imagine these beliefs were frightening, but often they were comforting. Life and death were seen as parts of a larger cycle, much like the Nile, much like the rising and setting sun, much like the seasons themselves. The world moved in rhythms, and there was reassurance in that. As you sit beside the lamp, your thoughts drift toward the future. You cannot know what lies ahead. No one can. You do not know that thousands of years later, people will still speak your name. You do not know that archaeologists will study temples and monuments. You do not know that distant generations will look back upon ancient Egypt with fascination and wonder. To you, tomorrow is simply another day waiting beyond the horizon, another sunrise, another morning beside the Nile, another opportunity to guide your family and serve your kingdom. And somehow, that feels enough. The final attendants quietly bow and leave the chamber. The door closes softly behind them. At last, you are alone. The room grows even quieter. You lie down upon your bed. The woven mattress feels familiar beneath you. The curved wooden headrest supports your neck. The linen sheets are cool and comfortable. Outside, the night continues. The Nile flows steadily through the darkness. Moonlight reflects across its surface. Fishermen guide boats home. Families sleep within mud brick houses. Temple lamps burn quietly in distant sanctuaries. Cats wander moonlit streets. Palm trees sway gently in the breeze. All across Egypt, millions of people rest beneath the same sky. And somewhere beyond the horizon, the sun waits patiently for morning. Your eyelids begin to grow heavier. The sounds of the palace fade further away. The flickering lamp becomes a soft blur. The stars beyond the window shimmer gently. For a few final moments, you simply listen. To the wind, to the distant river, to the quiet breathing of a sleeping world. Then slowly, very slowly, you close your eyes. The palace disappears. The gardens disappear. The stars fade from view. Only darkness remains. Warm, comfortable, peaceful. And as Queen Nefertari drifts into sleep beside the Nile, ancient Egypt settles into silence around her. The river continues flowing. The stars continue shining. The world continues turning. And somewhere beyond the darkness, another golden sunrise is already on its way.